Paddy Pimblett taken to hospital after brutal UFC 324 war that shook the MMA world. Las Vegas, Nevada, UFC 324 delivered chaos, courage, controversy, and unforgettable violence, but few moments captured the raw brutality of mixed martial arts quite like Paddy Pimblett's grueling war, a fight so punishing that the British star was taken directly to hospital after the bout. The lightweight showdown instantly became one of the most talked about fights of the year, leaving fans in awe, analysts divided, and Pimblett physically battered yet spiritually unbroken. While the Liverpool native emerged with his hand raised, the aftermath told a deeper, darker story about the cost of elite competition inside the UFC octagon. A night that defined UFC 324. UFC 324 was billed as a landmark event for the promotion's new era, featuring a stacked card with elite contenders, former champions, and rising stars. Yet by the end of the night, it was Pimblett's performance, and the visible toll it took, that dominated headlines. From the opening bell, it was clear that this would not be a routine fight. Pimblett entered the octagon with his trademark swagger, bowl-cut hair bouncing as he made the walk, feeding off the crowd's electric energy. Across from him stood an opponent determined to test every weakness critics had pointed out in Pimblett's meteoric UFC rise. What followed was 15 minutes of sustained violence, momentum swings, and sheer willpower. The fight, a relentless, three-round war. The first round set the tone immediately. Pimblett pushed forward aggressively, throwing wide hooks and mixing in kicks, while his opponent answered with sharp counters and crushing body shots. The exchanges were fierce, chaotic, and unforgiving. Midway through the round, Pimblett absorbed a clean right hand that briefly stunned him, drawing gasps from the crowd. Instead of retreating, he smiled, classic, Paddy behavior, and fired back, turning the octagon into a phone booth. The second round escalated into near-constant clinches, elbows, and ground scrambles. Pimblett showcased improved grappling defense, but he paid dearly for it, eating elbows from bottom position and absorbing heavy ground and pound while hunting for submissions. By the third round, both fighters were visibly exhausted, faces swollen and bloodied. Pimblett's left eye was nearly shut, his breathing labored. Still, he pressed forward, driven by crowd chants and raw adrenaline. When the final horn sounded, both men collapsed against the cage, two warriors emptied of everything they had. Decision and immediate concern. When the judges' scorecards were read, Pimblett was awarded a hard-fought decision victory, prompting a roar from the arena. Yet celebration quickly turned to concern. Medical staff rushed into the octagon as Pimblett struggled to stand unassisted. Cameras caught him leaning heavily on officials, his face showing clear signs of trauma. Within minutes, it was confirmed that Pimblett would be transported to a nearby hospital for further evaluation. The UFC later confirmed that the move was precautionary, but the images had already gone viral. Why was Paddy Pimblett hospitalized? According to sources close to the promotion, Pimblett was taken to hospital due to severe facial swelling, possible orbital bone concerns, dehydration and extreme fatigue, standard post-fight neurological checks. While no life-threatening injuries were immediately reported, the UFC followed protocol for fighters involved in exceptionally punishing bouts. Paddy took a lot of damage, a UFC official said backstage. When a fight is that intense, you don't take chances. Pimblett speaks. This is what fighting is. Hours later, Pimblett broke his silence with a short message posted online, reassuring fans while embracing the warrior ethos that has defined his career. I'm all good, just banged up. This is what fighting is. I'll be back. The message, brief but defiant, instantly went viral. Fans flooded social media with support, while fellow fighters praised Pimblett's toughness. Even some of his harshest critics acknowledged his heart. The MMA world reacts. Reaction to Pimblett's hospitalization was swift and emotional. Former champions, analysts, and fans weighed in, many expressing admiration mixed with concern. One veteran fighter wrote, "That's the kind of fight that shortens careers if you're not careful. Respect to Paddy, but health comes first." Others defended Pimblett's style, arguing that wars like this are what build legends. "You don't become a star without nights like this," said one analyst. "But you also don't survive the sport long if every fight looks like that." Critics renew concerns over defense. While Pimblett's toughness was undeniable, UFC 324 also reignited long-standing debates about his defensive striking and willingness to absorb punishment. Slow reactions, wide striking entries, and a reliance on chin and grit rather than clean technique were once again highlighted by critics. Some questioned whether Pimblett could continue this trajectory against top 5 lightweights without serious adjustments. Heart will only take you so far at 155 pounds, one commentator noted. The elite guys don't need 3 rounds to finish you. UFC's investment in Pimblett. Despite the criticism, the UFC clearly sees Pimblett as a major asset. His ability to generate noise, attention, and emotion, win or lose, makes him invaluable in a crowded lightweight division. Merchandise sales, social media engagement, and crowd reactions place him among the promotion's most marketable stars. However, moments like UFC 324 also force difficult conversations behind the scenes about matchmaking and long-term health. What's next for Paddy Pimblett? The immediate priority is recovery. Doctors are expected to place Pimblett on a medical suspension, likely sidelining him for several months. During that time, he will undergo follow-up scans, rest, and rehabilitation. Longer term, his future raises intriguing questions. Should he take a step back in competition level? Is it time to refine his defensive game? Can he evolve without losing the chaos that made him famous? One thing is certain, Pimblett's stock remains high, but the margin for error is shrinking. A defining moment in his career. UFC 324 may ultimately be remembered as a turning point. For some fighters, brutal wars become badges of honor. For others, they are warnings, signals that evolution is necessary. Pimblett has always thrived on proving doubters wrong. Being taken to hospital after a victory only adds another layer to his legend, a fighter willing to endure hell to win. Final thoughts. Paddy Pimblett didn't just win a fight at UFC 324, he survived one. The images of him leaving the arena for hospital checks are stark reminders of the price fighters pay for greatness. Glory inside the octagon is fleeting, damage can linger. As fans celebrate the spectacle, UFC 324 also invites reflection, on courage, on risk, and on how far a fighter should go to entertain the world. For Paddy, the baddie, Pimblett, the war is over, for now. The recovery begins, and with it, the next chapter of one of MMA's most polarizing and compelling figures.